Welcome back. This is YourTown. I'm Marianne Leffel, Monterey County Business Council. We got a great show today. Yolanda Clarke, Powder River Industries. So, Yolanda, we're back.
Hi.
Second segment.
Hello.
So let's talk about what is Powder River Industries.
We are a small business, as we talked about earlier. Our focus, our primary customer focus is federal contracting, but we can support state and local resources as well. Our verticals that we predominantly perform in are technology services, cyber operations, secure supply chain, and value-added reselling, or VAR.
Okay. So, tell me, what is that?
So
What do you do?
So the work that we do is competitive. It's all contract based.
Okay.
So there's a life cycle to acquisitions. It's pretty much on a 5-year cycle, from requirements identification to funding to competition to award of contract and then the start of the contract. Our contracts can be anything from 30 days to 5 years of performance. In the VAR side of things, that's really simply hardware and software sales. So those can be really fast. A software license, a customer could request that and have it within 24 hours because it's just a matter of getting the right code to download the software that they're looking for. So it's a journey for sure. We have been focused on the cyber side. We've been focused on DISA, the Defense Information Systems Agency. On the secure supply chain side, we have been partnering with a company called CyberCore Technologies out of Maryland, and they're a prime contract holder for a SPAY war contract down in San Diego, performing that, and we're a subcontractor to them. And so that's where our past performance is developing. And then on the VAR side, that started to emerge last summer, where contracting officers from all over the country really were calling me and asking me for quotes and things I'd never heard of. So I called CyberCore and said, how do I do this? I don't want to say no. You don't want to say no when someone is asking you for help. And so they really mentored me through that process. And it turned out I loved it. It was fast. It's fast-paced. You get to meet a lot of people. You work with a lot of different companies, a lot of the big technology companies just up the road in Silicon Valley. And your customers are satisfied quickly. You know exactly what they want. You give it to them, they're happy.
You're speaking the same language.
It's great. Yeah. And so I definitely wanted to do more of that. One of the things I looked at when I was starting PRI was the prospect of buying and selling contracts, which is something that you can do. And I was looking at ways to accelerate growth and get PRI more tools to work with so that we could grow off that. Which is when actually around the time that I met you, and PRI won some awards, local awards last year, as did another service-disabled veteran-owned company, Advanced Onion. That's where we came into contact, and long story short, fast forward, if you asked me last year if I would be here, I would not know how I would have gotten here, but Paul Temple, the CEO of Advanced Onion, and I came to some agreements last year, and I was able to buy the VAR division of Advanced Onion, and so that was just closed last month. So that's a really exciting thing that we've been able to do here locally.
I love it.
Oh, it's been amazing, and I don't know if it was it's probably a product of both the acquisition as well as the effort and time that I had been putting into it already, but we have now at least 49 different partners of varying levels, 4 distributors, plenty of credit to do the work that we need to do, and access to 12 contract vehicles. So that's kind of amazing, considering we're not 2 years old yet. And it's been great because the majority of our clients are all here in Monterey. And so it just, sometimes when I see Paul, I ask him to pinch me. I'm like, is this happening? I can't believe it. This is so great. So, I mean, our customers here on the peninsula are fantastic. The work that we get to do is amazing, and the company that we get to keep is also amazing. So, definitely living a dream.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I told my husband I should probably start dreaming bigger.
Put it in bigger color.
Maybe.
Big screen.
Maybe. But for this year, I think I'll just work with what I've got. Make sure, that's kind of the mantra this year is do no harm. Make sure that we stabilize everything after that acquisition. Make sure our customers are happy, our partners are taken care of, and that we're able to sustain the operations that we've taken on. And then once we know that that's sustainable, then we'll be looking to grow upon that.
So you said most of your clients are here in the Monterey Bay region.
Yeah.
So are they most defense related?
They are. The biggest is the DoD Manpower Data Center.
Okay.
That's definitely the biggest. And then the Naval Postgraduate School, and then just a tiny bit of work with DLI. So we're going to try to continue to keep that work effort up, make sure that we're adaptable to new requirements, because the operations that most companies and the defense agencies are no different, that work evolves, and so their needs and requirements also evolve. So we just want to make sure that we're positioned to grow with them and know what they need so that we can give it to them as fast as it can be given.
That's perfect. It's perfect.
And with the best value, right? Because everybody has to have that value. It's not just the cost, but what are they getting for the money that they're spending?
You know, it's interesting as we have discussions about the gig economy and about how people just pick up a contract and then they don't work for a while and then they work again. A company like yours that is establishing a track record that is local, where people can look you in the eye and know who they're dealing with, I believe there's still so much value in that. Even if you have backroom people all over who are fulfilling some of the backroom pieces of it, to be able to see the principals and the primary contacts and be able to know them, know a little bit about them, I think we're still in that world, and I think that's important.
It is. I've worked virtually for so many years. It's probably been one of the biggest delights of being here is I'm 12 minutes away from my farthest customer, and I actually get to know them and bump into them at the grocery store. And I think that's something you get with small business, is that we are personal. There is not a big buffer of corporate structure around us. You get direct access to us, you get immediate feedback, and that helps us be more responsive and adaptive, for sure. Yeah. And the gig economy, there's some of that with defense contracting, but really what I'm trying to build with PRI is a sustainable business base.
A relationship.
Relationships and planning, doing the financial forecasting and paying attention to the acquisition cycles so that we can take care of our people, have long-lasting, enduring relationships with our customers, our partners, our employees, and continue to provide that adaptive, relevant, high-quality service.
No, I think it's important, and I think when we see the issues that have come about with, and I'm not going to get political on this, but with fake news and with people putting information that is misinformation into systems, it helps so much to be able to look at somebody and know this is the person I'm dealing with. They're for real. They're not a bot someplace that's feeding me.
Yeah.
And I think that has extreme value in today's world. And it's something somehow some segment of our economy has lost that, and I believe that it's something that is core to how we do business.
It's interesting that you bring that up. That's really timely. It's a topic that we spend a lot of time thinking about in the cyberspace. There's actually a conference coming up here in Monterey on the 19th and 20th. It's called the Insider Threat Conference. It's going to be at the Marriott.
I went to one segment of the first one they had, and it was great.
This year's going to be a pretty exciting conference. The keynote speaker was Snowden's boss at Booz Allen Hamilton. So if there was ever an insider threat, he might, I mean, he's certainly the biggest in our lifetime that we know about. So it'll be a really exciting conference to listen to Steve speak, as well as some of the other speakers talking about exactly that. How do you know? How do you know financially, digitally? I mean, there's not a lot of substitute for being able to reach out and touch someone, but that's not the world we live in. And it's wonderful when we get that opportunity, but how do you defend your business? How do you defend your operations? That's going to be a really interesting topic next month, and a great opportunity for anybody who's interested locally or even who wants to travel in to get to talk to a lot of different companies working on a lot of different pieces of that.
I think it's fabulous, and I love it that Paul has established it here and is keeping it here. And I told him I'm dedicated to making it grow here. So I think it could be the largest of all those conferences anywhere.
It could be. I mean, if not the largest, the most relevant,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, the right people. Mm-hmm. It's that's really the key, is to having the right people in the room.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how you got to Monterey, because the military, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We didn't see that coming. So, but that's kind of, you get used to that after you've been in the military for a while. So I was active duty myself for a number of years, and I've stayed in the reserves ever since, but my spouse is still active duty. So we were actually stationed in Hawaii at the Marine Corps Base Headquarters, and got orders to the Naval Postgraduate School. Where is that? Let's Google that. Monterey, California. Wow, I hear it's nice there. So it's another curveball the military life sends you. So we just started planning and scrambling around how to make it work in Monterey. And so I don't remember how soon we got our orders, but we started leaning in, and that really was one of the triggers for me to start PRI, was knowing where we were going to be, figuring out where to put my flag for the headquarters, like what makes sense when you're a military spouse and you're constantly moving around. But you and I talked about that, and that's, you can look at it as a challenge, or you can look at it as a strength.
I think it's a huge opportunity.
It is.
A strength. Yep.
And so when you take those things and look at them from the opposite direction of, okay, is this a problem? Well, no, actually it's an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing area with the size of Monterey being so small. You get really amazing access to all of these great resources without having to go very far. You're 1 degree of separation from everybody. So if you need something, you just have to ask and just let it be known. And if it's out there in the community, you're going to find it. So yeah, just really harnessing the strengths of adaptability and movement and change, and being quick to change and accepting it, and finding the good as fast as possible and figuring out what you can do with it. So you can't be completely nailed down to a plan.
That's right.
Like, yeah. It's just not going to happen. So
it's a recipe for failure if you cannot be a little flexible as a military person or spouse.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of that, and I mean, it starts very early. Are you going to be home for the holidays? I don't know.
That's right.
When will you get to talk to him? I don't know. Like, when does that school end? I don't know. There might be another one. I don't know. So it is a challenging life, and it can be painful, but there's so much good that comes from it. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I was used to laugh. Hal he did congressional investigations on recruiter malpractice for about 18 months or 2 years. And it would, seriously, he would leave our house in the morning, and I'd say, okay, see you at 6. And then about 3:30 in the afternoon, I'd get a call saying, I'm home, I'm packing, I'm headed out to Guam. I don't know when I'll be back. And he would call me in a week and say, okay, this is going to take a little longer. Or he was going to Hawaii, and then he calls me from Hawaii going, okay, now it's unraveled enough. I'm going to go on into Guam, and I'll be in Guam. I mean, I would sometimes see him at 6:30 in the morning when they left the house and think he's home that night, and he'd be home 4 weeks later when he finally finished the trail that he was on of who had done what to who. And it's a crazy world, and you just can't get excited about it. I get excited over very little in my life because there's no point. I could not affect that. But I would never have traded the 23 years for another lifestyle. It was good.
Definitely. I remember a few weeks before we were supposed to get married, it was 1:11 in the morning, and I was working in another state, and I got a call. And he had a big training event that night, and so he was really excited about it. So I thought, oh, he must be calling to let me know it's over, and it went well. And he said, are you awake? Oh, do I need to wake up? And he's like, yes. I need you to remember this. I'm going away. I don't know when I'm coming back. I don't know when I'm going to be able to call you. Mind you, we were less than a month away from getting married. And so the clock started ticking. I did not go back to sleep, by the way. And then the days were going by, the weeks were going by, and I actually had to unplan our wedding because I didn't know if he was coming back. Fortunately, he did come back 2 days before the date we were planned. But at that point, our wedding plans had pretty much unraveled. So it was like, let's put the flip-flops in a bag. Let's go. Let's just get on a plane. Let's go.
And go and do it.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
So, well, it's good. And you know what? It makes you stronger for it.
And this, those are good stories.
Yes, yes.
It's hard to top that.
Yeah, it's... We've all got some of those little battle scars and stories, and most people can't even relate to it, so it's good.
True.
So we're going to come back in a minute, and we're going to talk about workforce, because I wanted to chat about workforce. So, Your Town, this is Your Town, and I'm Mary Ann Leffel. Don't go away. We'll be back in a minute.